On this video, we're going to start by simplifying polynomials by combining like terms. And so you need to understand what like terms mean. And when we're combining like terms, we can only add them or subtract them if they are exactly the same. So if you look at the ones I have listed as like terms, I have a 5x squared minus 7 and a negative 7x squared. So those are like terms because they both have an x squared. On the next one, it's a 1y and a 2y. Remember, this really means that there is a 1 here. Both of them are just a y to the first power, so those are like terms. And then same thing on the last one, I have a 1/2 a squared b and a negative 1 a squared b. Remember, if you don't see a number, that means 1, or in this case, negative 1. Now, unlike terms, notice a 3x and a 3y, we cannot combine those. We cannot combine negative 2x squared and negative 5x, or 6st squared and 4s squared t. Those are not like terms because the exponents do not match on the s's and the t's. So when we're combining these, we are combining what we call the coefficients, which we talked about. So in this case, we have a 14 and a negative 30. Both of them are a y to the first power. So when we combine, 14 minus 30 is negative 16y. I'm going to make that not look like it has such a tail. So negative 16y is the sum of those two, or you can think of it as subtraction, because remember that could be 14y plus negative 30y. On the next one, both of them are x cubed, or x to the third power. A lot of times those are called cubes. And I have an 18 minus 4. So on this, 18 minus 4 is 14. And then I just put the x cubed. Remember, the variables do not change. We are simply combining the coefficients of any terms that are the same or like terms. On the third one, we can combine the 12 and the negative 9 because both of them have a k cubed. So 12 minus 9 is 3. That's 3k to the third power. And then we just keep the 11 because there was nothing to combine it with. There was no like term for the 11, which would have had to be just a number or a constant term is what we call those. Okay, on this one, I'm going to combine this term with this term, right? Because they both have a y squared. And then this and this, those are like terms. So I'm simply going to take the 7, well, I'm going to do the y squareds first. So 3.2 minus 2.5 would be 0.7, and that's a y squared. And then 7.6 minus 8 would be a negative 0.4y. Now I have a lot of students who ask me, do I have to put those zeros there? And that's just kind of the proper way to write them. You don't have to put them there, but you will see me put them there because I feel like that's the proper way to go. I don't take off for that if I was grading something that you had and you just put 0.7 or if you put 0.4. Okay, so on the next one, I'm adding a 2/5 and a 1/15 on the x to the fourth powers, right? So these two are like terms, and then the negative 23x squared and the 5x squared, and then that negative 5 just stays because that is a constant term and I don't have anything to combine it with. Now when I'm combining the 2/5 and the 1/15, I would need to have a common denominator. So 2/5, just as a reminder, I would multiply by 3/3, which gives me 6/15. So 6/15 plus 1/15 would be 7/15 x to the fourth. And then negative 23 plus 5 would be a negative 18 x squared, and then that would be minus 5. And that's how we combine those. Now, if you have a fraction calculator, you can just add those two fractions using your fraction calculator, and then it would give you that same number, the 7/15. Okay. All right, there's a lot going on this. Now you notice that I've kind of been organizing these by putting rectangles or circles or whatever around them. That's one way to do that. You could rearrange them and put your like terms side by side. It's kind of an up to you thing on how you want to do that. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to circle this and the 10. So those are both x squared. Remember, this is a 1, x squared y. And then I have, let's see, let's put a box around these. I have a 1 xy, and I have another 1 xy right here. And then the other two, negative 1y and negative 2y, those are like terms. So I'm really just using these circles and boxes and different things to organize my like terms. Okay, so when I add my x squared y to my 1 and my 10, I get 11 x squared y. And then on the next one, I get a 2 xy, right? Because I have 1 and 1. And then on the y's, I will have negative 3. So negative 3y. And so all my like terms are combined, and that's it on that one. And then on these two, it says add polynomials. Well, adding polynomials is really the same thing we've been doing. We can match it when we're adding, especially too. You can take these parentheses off, but you don't have to, because with addition, the signs do not change. Now, I think I'm going to rewrite these though, and just kind of put them side by side. So I will have a 5x squared minus 3x squared, negative 7x plus 7x, negative 8 plus 5. Because this is another way to organize where you just arrange them with like terms side by side and then combine. And that just helps you with as you're looking at all these different numbers. So on the first two terms, I have a 5x squared minus 3x squared. And that is a 2x to the second. Negative 7 plus 7 is 0, so we just drop that term because when I combine those I get 0x. And then negative 8 plus 5 would be a negative 3 or minus 3. All right, negative 3 minus 3 means the same thing. And then on the next one I have 2y plus 5y, and then 20 minus 30. Okay, so that is a 7y minus 10. And so we're going to end this video right here on this slide and then pick it up with the next video. All right.